My whole life has been one. I've been homeless. I've dealt with molestation. I've dealt with domestic violence. And so when thinking about the hurricane piece of it, it's going to happen in some way, shape, or form. But one of the things that I want to make sure that you guys understand is that there's no cap on what you can achieve. There's no cap on what you can do. Because guess what? I'm still here. Every day that you wake up, there's breath in your body. Guess what? It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. And somebody may tell it. We all know that one person that wants to bring shade and wants to bring up your past and who you were and what you did. They have no power over you except the power that you give them. And so, when it comes to thinking about these hurricanes and the power that's on the inside of you, you got to show up a little bold. You got to realize that it doesn't matter what anybody says or does. It doesn't even matter what's going on in the economy. You can still achieve great things. So even this year, while things have been going a little haywire, I've still been successful. Published a new book. Still had clients. Things got a little crazy with the whole being inside thing. You had to cancel some events, but you make the adjustments. One of the things that I want you to understand is that you have unmuted possibilities. The unmuted possibilities that you have, they're set by you. You set the standard. So that means that you take responsibility. So you can accept whatever it is that they said, or you can leave it right there. But it's a choice. And so I know Sabrina has gone through several. She has gone through several things in her own life that have been considered hurricanes as well.
Ooh, yeah, hurricane. Hi, everybody. I'm Miss Sabrina. I don't have children yet, but this is my sister, and I love all of her children. I'm an educator. Okay, a list of things that I am: an educator. I'm a creator. You know, to see the bags you have, it's lip gloss and hand sanitizer. I made those for you guys. I'm an actress. I'm a playwright. I'm a director. So I wear a lot of hats. You know, the ones I'm most proud of is being a woman of faith. You know, that's what I'm most proud of because it took me a long time to accept that this is who I'm supposed to be. And I was like, but no, this says I'm supposed to be that. But you said I'm supposed to, the confusion. But, you know, I'm proud of that. And, you know, I make it my job and my purpose is to mentor young ladies like you all and just let you know that there is a difference. Like, you don't have to conform to society. Like, you don't have to be the next Beyonce, the next Cardi B, or Nicki Minaj. You ain't got to be all that. Like, you know, you can be anything that you want to be. Like, you can go to college or not go to college. Like, I did go to college, you know, so I got a $60,000 bill. But, you know, praise be to God, I'm in a program that because I'm an educator, they go pay it off for me. Yeah. So, but you don't have to go to college. Like, listen, you can create something and like blow all the way up with it, you know. And like when we talk about hurricanes, like I'm a product of domestic violence. My mother was murdered when I was 7 years old, and I was the eyewitness. So I had to go through the court files, I had to testify, and like my sister said, you know, when she wrote up the book that she just put out, I'm a part of that book because you get to hear the voice. Because a lot of times when people write books about domestic violence, you hear about the victim of it and what they did, what they had to endure, but you never hear about the child's perspective or what they witnessed and what they saw, what they had to overcome. So, you know, that's the plug. Get the book. It's called #Unmuted. But it just talks about it was a collection of 9 of us. We came together and just wrote about our different journeys. But like just that journey and that process, because like I went through the low self-esteem, I went through depression, I went through suicide attempts. Like, how old are you? 9. When I was your age, I was contemplating suicide on a daily basis. Like I attempted, like I have a scar, which I can't remember which wrist it is. I think it's this wrist, like you'll see right there, because I tried when I was home alone. because I didn't feel like I had anything to live for. I didn't feel like I had a purpose because, like, I came from a single parent household. Like, my mom is gone. Like, who are you people? I know you're my family because I was blessed enough that I didn't go into foster care. I lived with my family, but I'm like, I don't really know y'all. I only deal with y'all on holidays and every so often or every other weekend. But now I got to live with y'all forever. I don't really know how I feel about this. And I have a younger sister, biologically, and we were separated because of our mother passing away. She went with her father's family. I went with my father's family. I'm like, so like, listen, I think I contemplated suicide. I want to say honestly, past I was like 25 years old because I felt like, and I'm 37 now. I felt like I had nothing to live for. And so I know about being a hurricane. Like, y'all see all of this? Listen, don't let all of this fool you, okay? I'm a work in progress. It's just through the grace of God that I'm here. I'm a work in progress, just like you all are works in progress. You guys experience a lot of different things. Like, listen, you can have a conversation with me. Listen, I can tell you, Sabrina I done seen it all, did it all, tried it all. I got the T-shirt, the face mask now. I got it all to prove. It's just want to just encourage you, like, let you know, look, you guys can do anything. And if you have the right people in your corner, oh, like, your world becomes unstoppable. Completely and utterly unstoppable. Like she said, it only takes one person to believe in you to help you push your dream and your goals, and you can be anything. Like, whew.
Okay. So here's something that I want to do with you really quickly. If you look in your bags, there's a mirror, a compact mirror in there. And you can just kind of undo the bow. It's not fancy or anything.
Yeah.
Don't judge. This is a non-judgment zone.
Yeah.
Listen. This is a non-judgment zone. So take out the mirror and take out the marker. Take out the mirror and the marker. And something that we always talk about when we think about this whole idea of having no cap is that a lot of times we as women, we as young girls, we as females feel as though we cannot achieve things because of something someone said to us. Somebody told us that we were something, they called us a name, and we decided that we were going to live with that label upon us for the rest of our lives. And unfortunately, there are actually women who are 80 and 90 years old who are still living with that same label. So I know the mirror is kind of small, but I really want you to do this. At the top of your mirror, I want you to write a name that someone called you. Because see, this is the thing. Part of this idea of being a hurricane is understanding your strength and your power. And sometimes that means going back and seeing when somebody flicked the switch to try to turn that power out. So what's one thing that somebody said to you? You don't have to write it all the way out, but just think of a word that makes you think of the time when somebody did something and it was them really turning your power out. It could have been in school. It could have been a family member. It could have been a friend or someone you thought was a friend. It could have been an ex, although I don't hear or see nothing right now. I'm not going to snitch on nobody. But it could have been an ex. Well, think of that one word.
No judgment zone. I'm the fun auntie too. You can ask her kids.
So you got to have that understanding, right? And when you thought about that word, how did it make you feel? Did you feel like you were back in that day almost? Did you feel like if that person was in front of you, you was going to say, square up? We was about to have a problem? Think about it, because guess what? That's still a label that you've attached to yourself. That's still something that you're walking around with. Now with your marker, I want you to put a line in here. And there's a reason why I'm having you do this on a mirror. Because when you look in the mirror, who do you see? Do you see that person? You see yourself. But you see the word of what they made you feel. That's not the image that you should have of yourself. Remember, you're the hurricane. There's something powerful on the inside of you. And so, now, I want you to write who you will be. Right underneath it. Now, it could be president, it can be founder, CEO, you want to be. No cap. There is no limitation to where you can go. Now, when you're looking at that mirror, now you see two words, but only one of them has power. And the only reason that one has power is because you've written it. And you went and you took away the power from the word that somebody else gave you. When you put that line through that word, you were putting that line through everything that that person ever said about you, did to you. You were taking authority back over your life. It's the responsibility for me. Because I own it. 2015, I said 2016 was going to be my year. Y'all know everybody going new year, new me, and all this stuff. Yeah, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be, well, I didn't say the millionaire part. But new year, new me. December 31st of 2015, I was evicted from my home. But January 1st, that's supposed to be the new year, new me, right? That was supposed to be, we put vision boards, which you guys talking about. You got the nice outfits, y'all got the new shoes, y'all. That wasn't how it's supposed to be. So, as a sheriff stood next to me and my children, I dragged all of our stuff out to the sidewalk. But January 1st, I had an option because I had already made a plans to go on a flight. I was going somewhere. Do I have a pity party and say, well, it was me? Do I stop because I'm currently homeless? Or do I take that flight? Now, what would have been your option? Take the flight? Or say, man, here we go again. Nothing works. Everybody else gets to take flights. Everybody else gets to go on trips. Everybody else gets to live their life. What about me? So January 1st, I take the flight. And I did not make the decision until literally January 1st that morning. I go, I get on the first flight, no problem. Second flight, there's no group number on my ticket. Now, I'm a creative. So being that creative person, I got a whole movie in my head. Me and Netflix won't talk. But I got whole movies in my head. Y'all know that you can see something and be like, oh, yeah, and that'll happen, and this'll happen, and that, and you just start creating things. So I'm like, in my mind, TSA about to take me out. I ain't got no group number on my ticket. I got a fake ticket. They're about to take me out. But I go over to the booth. I say, okay, there's no group number on my ticket. He said, oh, no problem. Just go on group 2. I said, like you. My girl, all right. They call group 2. I get in line, and I'm like, bet. They call my name over the loudspeaker. So now I'm looking out at the tarp to see if there's a helicopter with TSA dropping down, or if there's one of the carts coming through, because I promise you I'm getting arrested. I go to the booth, and they hand me a brand new ticket. It's first class. See, in that moment, I didn't realize how much of a hurricane I was, but I started to have that inkling of taking back that power. So when I said yes, that was me taking back my power. Taking that flight is me taking back my power. One of the things that you will come to understand is that as the hurricane may be moved, there may be destruction coming, but there's also something else that you don't see. And it can be an upgrade to first class, come through with the blankets and snacks. It can be any number of things. But you never know until you take that leap, until you take that action. See, a hurricane that's just sitting in one spot, we wouldn't know anything about it because it would never make it to land. We would also never know how to handle it or what makes it or what we wouldn't be able to dissect it. But because it made it to land, we know how to protect people. We know where it starts. We know how to be able to survive it and thrive. It's valuable. so we go back to, listen, when we think about a hurricane, they got a path, right? Well, when we think about a vision board, your vision board is that path. Even though this year didn't look like it was supposed to, it don't look like a vision board.
Listen, I was supposed to go to Puerto Rico this spring.
Look, right? It don't look like a vision board.
Disneyland. Hey, I have plans.
You start there. You start with that path, you start with that vision, and then you move forward from there.
So, kind of like my sister said about the words. So, I took that approach myself. And I created my own words. I'm not going to let you dictate to me who I am. I'm going to tell you who I am. So, anybody that comes to where I live, when you get ready to leave, you see who I am. And, things that I'm going to accomplish, This is not just for this year. This is me, period. This is who I am. I'm slaying. I'm growing, I'm taking back my power because, like you said, like they said, that hurricanes, man, they do a lot. And that's what this whole conference is about, empowering you to let you know that you can do a lot. Like, you may think that you can't, but you really can. Like, you're sitting here, like, what's one thing that you want to... Wait, you said you wanted to be a doctor. Yes. That's a hurricane because that's needed. Like, you can make an impact. It's not a lot of, us lady doctors, we gotta go. So you go in there and take charge, What do you want to be?
I said...
Was you the forensic science?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, because I was like, wait,
the athlete.
Listen, let me tell you something about field hockey. My niece did field hockey. I ain't know what it was till they did it. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Got me up in my seat like, wait, stop the ball. I didn't really know what was going on, but I just know my niece was, what's the person?
She was golden.
She was golden, so she was blocking it. They went, I think they lost 2 games out of the whole season. So they were like literally undefeated. And the one game that they lost, they cheated them, y'all. I just want y'all to know. They cheated because they went into overtime at 0-0, and then miraculously we didn't realize they was going into a second overtime. And my sister had to take a potty break, so we went to the bathroom. We came back, game over. What you mean? Hold on. I think y'all cheated. I might be a little biased because it was my niece, but still, I think they cheated. So, because when the team came to our side, they smoked them. Like that score was like 7-0. They didn't get no points. They cleaned them. So that means y'all cheated. But yes, like that's awesome because there's not a lot of heat.
That is not fact. No.
All right. I'm that aunt that I make up extra stuff. So if the score was really 2, I'm saying they had 20. I'm saying I'm that aunt. Okay. Listen, I'm like the aunt that's all the way up here. Like, I do the big things. That's why COVID. Let me tell you something. COVID messed me up. Her oldest daughter went to college. I had this plan. We was going to New York for the day. I was going to surprise her. I was kidnapping her. And I was going to take her to a show. Because I'm that aunt. I take them to the things that they think that they won't ever get to go to. Her son, when he graduated, I took him to a WrestleMania event. He didn't even know what was going on. I just kidnapped him and get in the car. We went all the way to New York. He didn't know, like, took a bus ride and everything. He didn't realize, like, till we were, like this close to the sign. And he saw her. He was like, oh my God! So I'm that out, so y'all gotta forgive me. But like, your friends is like, yo, that's dope. I don't really watch Criminal Minds no more because they be messing with my head.
It's more or less like what I want to do is like 2 things. What I want to do is, it's gonna sound really nasty, but when y'all like actually like understand what I'm gonna say, I want to be a forensic scientist investigation of blood splatter. Basically, like when you go on the crime scene, like when you go on the crime scene and like you see where the blood is and you see how they died, you have to figure out how they died through the blood. Or I want to work, or I want to work in the lab, like when people do an autopsy on the body. They give you some details on how the body like died or how it passed.
You dope, girl. Let me tell you, the first sight of blood, I'm like, so that's dope. But there are not a lot of girls that do it, but you can do it. Like, surround yourself with the right people. Listen, girl, I'm gonna be watching you. What do you want to do? Wait, say that one more time.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I remember it. Yes, girl, get you some YouTube videos, okay? My little 6-year-old niece, she's a YouTube artist in training. Listen, because every time we get on FaceTime, she's like, so my name is, I know who you are. You don't have to keep telling me what your name is. Your name sounds like mine. Aubrey, Sabrina. Like, I know who you are. Listen, girl, go to the dollar store, get you some makeup. You know, that's just for right now. Until you get older, you can go to like MAC and stuff. And Fenty is good too. Listen, practice in the mirror. You got cell phone? No. Okay. Ask your mama or daddy, can you borrow their cell phone for like 2 hours? And then just practice doing videos. Just practice. Like, just get in there. Like, so this is what you do when you do this and do that and do this. And listen, if you need somebody that can help you, my baby sister, listen, she beats face, okay? Like, I'll show y'all some pictures later. She be slanging the face. I'll be like, can you do my face? She always tell me no. Like, if you're a little sister, you're not supposed to tell me no, but she did. What about you? You don't know? That's okay. How old are you? 14. 14. What do you like to do?
Watch kids.
You said what?
Watch kids.
Watch it. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You could be a teacher. Or you could be a nanny. Okay? Listen, nannies get paid. Don't listen. One of my good girlfriends is a nanny. Listen. She getting a little money. She getting a little money out in these streets, okay? So, but that's something awesome because you're making an impact into the next generation. And educators, listen, educators are needed, okay? Especially ones that look like me and you, we're needed. So listen, girl, you want to be an educator, let me know. I can help you, okay? If you want to do the little ones, that's my degree. I got you. I can help you. Listen, I got listen, you can see my bookshelf. I got a whole bunch of stuff. Listen. But I said all I have to say is, like my sister said, the word. You change the word for whatever you want to see. Like I told y'all, like when I was 9 years old, or actually from the age of 7 till about 25, I contemplated suicide, maybe like once or twice a month, But it's because I didn't have the right words. Because I had people saying, use this, use that, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And, I love my family, they're a little interested. They didn't know how to speak to someone like me, the hurricane that was on the inside of me, because they didn't recognize the hurricane that I was. All they saw was, okay, we took this kid in because, her mama died, and her daddy, he trying to get himself together with, so we just gonna do whatever. But they didn't recognize the hurricane that I am. But today, when they see me, oh, listen, when I teach, at church, they fill up the whole pew because they recognize the hurricane I am. Because once I got a hold of who I was and I changed the narrative, like, no, you can't talk to me like that. I don't respond to that. Like that top work, I don't respond to that. I may have responded to that like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago. But today, that's not who I am. And I'm not going to tolerate. Look, you got to get bold, do a little hair flick and all of that. Let them know. The neck roll. Don't talk to me like that. You got it. But you got to do it because you have to own who you are. Own your hurricane. Because your hurricane has power. Like she said, that was so dope. I never really realized about that code. I was like, that never really dawned on me. Like, oh, that heat transfer, that power. It was shifted. So, like, that's how you shift the power. You shift the narrative by you telling them what to call you. You teach people how to treat you. Teach people how to talk to you. And they were talking about fear, and there's something powerful. I literally just had this conversation with people last night. You have to allow your faith to override your fear. So you have faith, like for your goals and everything that you want to do. You use the faith that you want to do that. Even if you're scared, you use that to fuel you. Don't let it drown out your fear. Don't let your fear drown out your faith or your dream or your goal. Because it will try to, but you can't allow it to. And also, make sure you got the right people, good friends. Like, cause sometimes, I ain't have a lot of good friends growing up. I'm being honest, I did. They taught me in the cut school, playing hooky, smoking weed, drinking, listen. They did, and I did it, but, so I ain't had real good friends growing up. So that's why I can tell y'all, get y'all some good friends. But I made it, I got good friends now. I got good friends now. But you want to make sure that you have the right people in your circle and people that push your dream and push your goal. Like I told y'all, I'm a playwright. And I found this morning. It worked. I was like, oh, this is so dope. Where is it? Okay, but that's the ticket. Yeah. Where is it? so dope. Like I showed you, it's old, but y'all can hold on to it. This was one of my dreams, and I did it. And I can say I did it. Yeah, you're welcome. It's old, so it's a fire, but you can use that as a memento to show you like you can accomplish anything. Your dream, just step out, even if you're scared, just do it. Like this show was something I did a skit for church, and my brother, who's on the front, encouraged me. He was like, "Why don't you keep writing it? I feel like it could be a real good a real full like production." I was like, "For real?" But I did it, even though I was scared, and even though I didn't have a whole lot of money, I did it, and that's why I can add playwright to my catalog of things that I can do. I can add actress because I started it. You know, I'm on that because I couldn't find nobody to play that role. Because you know, when you're creative, you know how you want things done. Like, and I was like, you're not giving me the energy that I want. So again, thank you for your services. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Okay. Can you help with the snacks or something? Because you got to be protective of your hurricane. See, this was my hurricane. A part of the hurricane that I am. I had to protect it, so I did it. And that was a great show. But y'all just hold that as a memento to show you, listen, you can do anything. You know, get the right friends, you know. Listen, go to school, get good grades. You don't have to go to college. Because you don't have to go to college to do something like this. If this is what you want to do. You don't. You just write. Listen, you can do like your YouTube videos. Listen. So, all right. Back at you.
So one of the most valuable things that we can learn and understand is that as the hurricane, we are powerful. As young ladies, you are powerful. Your words, your time is valuable. Whenever you invest time in someone, that's value that you're giving to them. That's power that you're investing in them. And we have to be protective of that. But also we have to understand that there's going to be a lot of people on the other side of it that think girls can't get along.
Right.
They talk about each other. They fight. When in all actuality, that's the human nature of us at some point in some time. But one of the most valuable things that you can understand is that when I tell you you have no cap, and you take responsibility for it, now I have to look at another young woman and say, you're a girl boss. And I know that sometimes it's hard, especially when you're doing it and it's somebody that you don't know. Somebody that's not your neighbor, somebody that you didn't go to school with. And so when I took on that responsibility that I was going to take that flight, I was going to go ahead and be the face of my brand, I was going to go ahead and do some great things.
Sidebar, I thought she was crazy too. Because she left me with her kids. I was like, what? But, okay,
I said, all right, well, we're going to see what's going to happen. To date, I have helped women write 50 plus books. I showed them that they were a girl boss. I've helped women start businesses. I've empowered them to get through their stories of domestic violence, homelessness, abuse, divorce. And in the books that I write, that's part of my story. That's part of what I do is that I'm showing and sharing with everybody that, listen, you're a girl boss. You got this. I'm doing this, but you can too. And so one of the things that I want to give to you guys is I'm going to challenge you. I always love action. So I'm big on taking action. I want to see it in the making. I want to see it being done. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to give each one of you a sign that says girl boss. And when we're done our session, you'll be able to connect with, I want you to connect with another hurricane that's at this conference. And all I want you to do is just hand it to her and tell her she's a girl boss. Something that we have to understand is it only takes a moment for us to make an impact in someone's life. When we think about that hurricane, it doesn't last long. It doesn't stay long. And we always think about the destruction of it. But there's something that it has to be renewed after that hurricane leaves. And so when you hand her this, there's going to be something that has to change on the inside of her when you walk away. Because if somebody walked up to you and say, "You girl boss," and just walks away, you'd be like, "You know, I was feeling myself a little bit this morning. You know what? I'm just saying, woke up like this. I mean, there's something on the inside of you that is sparked, right? You're just like, yes. You start, oh, wait a minute. But the thing about it is you never know what that girl or that woman was going through before you went up to her.
And wait, can I say something? Just because you're teenagers and kids, don't think that you can't make an impact on an adult.
Oh,
when I was a teenager, I had a grown woman come up to me and tell me, it's because of you that I am where I am today. Because you encouraged my child. And I watched how you lived. And that inspired me. So that encouraged me too. I was like, really? Like I should be looking up to you, but okay, thank you. But so don't let anybody put a cap on you because you're young. Like you can do great and awesome things from 9 to how old are you? 16? 14. Listen, you guys can do great things. So don't allow anybody to let your age like try to keep you here when really you're supposed to be here.
Definitely. A story that my oldest daughter, who just left for Colorado for college.
She was the goalie, I told her.
Yes, it was in her 9th grade year that she was in class. Class was a little rowdy. A lot was going on. And she could see that the teacher was frustrated, was mad. She wrote a note. You're a great teacher. It was just a bad day. Don't quit. We appreciate you. She didn't make a big thing about it. She slid it on his desk. She left out the room. He sent me an email saying that was the most impactful thing that ever happened to him as a teacher. He held on to the note. And it inspired him to do his best. Because even if it's a rowdy crowd, there's going to be at least one that appreciates you. As the hurricane, there's going to be someone that's interested in what you're doing. They're going to be like, you see the way that was swirling? Look at that. Y'all see that swirl? I'm trying to see what that swirl do. What's the swirl about? But there's going to be somebody watching you all. And that's why it's so important for us to show up in the way and in the capacity that we show up. Guess what? If not you, then who?
Be authentic when you show up. Like be your authentic. Like this silliness. This is me all day, every day. I'm not just putting on the show for you. Like this is really me. Like this is me. See the crazy colors? Like this is me. Like I got this shirt because it says I'm not perfect, but I am original. Because I am. Like listen, I don't fit into your mode. I don't fit into your mode. I fit into my mode, and I love my mode. So be authentically you. Like, okay, so I'm sorry, I cut my sister off. I gave y'all the papers. Like, I've got magazines right here. When you're done, like, you can take 1, 2, take as many as you want. I challenge you. Look through there and get some words and create. Like the board that I create some words. Create what you want to see, and create how you want people to see you and how you want to present that to them. And like, put it somewhere where you can see it every day, so you look something like, yes, this is me. I'm this, and create your own affirmation. I also have a card for you. Create your own affirmations. I can do this, or I will do this. I am this. Like you cross out that top word, put the bottom word here. And create some other words. Sorry,
yeah. So I just want to make sure that each of us get don't be trying to cheat and hand it to your friend and not the neighbor. I know what it's about.
Find somebody different. Somebody you don't even know.
Somebody you don't know. Just walk up on them. Yeah. Don't walk up on them like aggressively though.
Yeah.
Aggressively. You're supposed to be 6 feet.
Yeah. Like, hey. There you go.
So I want to open it up for questions because I know a lot of times um, in sessions like this, you have people that talk at you and not really with you. And they can give you a lot of information, but you're like, what do I do with it next? So, do you guys have any questions for us? Y'all don't have no questions at all.
Y'all got questions. Y'all can ask questions. Listen, I'm an open book. I tell you that. It's nothing you can't ask me. Listen, I've worked with teenagers for 10 minutes. Okay, I worked with teenagers for a lot of years. Listen, so it ain't no question that you can ask that I ain't already heard, or I had to talk them off of a ledge from. Like, no, I don't think you want to. So, open book. Any questions? No?
Any feedback from what we talked about?
How did you guys get over everything, especially with like the homelessness?
That's a good one.
So it's definitely been a day by day. One of the things when dealing with homelessness, with dealing with anything, I think it's that feeling of failure. I failed. What do I do now? How are people going to see me? And so I really had to get to a point of building myself up and saying, one failure does not mean that that is the end of your story. One thing being messed up does not mean that everything else shuts down. There may be some times where we have to shift some things, adjust some things, and that's okay. Scary, but okay. And so I had to start doing the affirmation. I had to start building myself up. And then one of the biggest things for me was who's in my corner. Now listen, I know that most of y'all be like, no, my parents, they don't understand. They ain't never been tested. But the reality is that a lot of times your parents are in your corner. And even if your parents aren't, there are some adults that are around you that are in your corner. Or there's organizations like this one. She already said it. If you need the space, come get it. If you need the help and support, come get it. Tapping into that, and I have to say this, because when I was a teenager, I thought that asking for help meant that I was weak. It meant that I couldn't do whatever I needed to do. So instead, I just stayed silent. That was why I did not tell anybody about me being molested as a child until I was 35 years old. Because if I told them, then that meant that I couldn't handle myself, or I couldn't send the person off, or I couldn't, until you take on that guilt and that responsibility of how other people are going to react to it. The only person that you are responsible for is you, until you have kids, and then that's a whole other story. But the only one that you're responsible for is you. I can't make anybody love me. I can't make anybody respect me. I can't make anybody understand me 100%. I can't. And when I try to take on that responsibility, I'm doing more damage to myself. So I had to say, okay, I'm going to tell my truth. I'm going to share my story. I'm going to get the help that I need. I'm going to ask for it when I need it. I'm going to accept it when it's given, even when it's a compliment. Think about it. How many times does somebody give you a compliment? You're like, oh, yeah, I just got this. Or, oh, yeah, no, you know what? I just threw this on. Just say thank you. They complimented you. Say thank you. No explanation. So it took a while to get to that point. And I'm happy that there are programs like this that help you get to that point a little bit earlier. Because again, you don't have to wait until, I'll tell y'all my age, I'm 40. You don't have to wait until you're 40 to,
What was that?
Look.
I'm 42. I'm 40 as well.
Girl, you look good.
As well.
Look, I'm 40.
I'll be 41 on Wednesday.
You don't have to wait until you're 35 to tell your story. You don't have to wait until you're 40 to get things done. There are entrepreneurs that are teenagers. There are entrepreneurs that are as young as 9 years old, starting businesses, whole businesses. Google them. Young entrepreneurs, and look at all the names that come up. But they have to go back and they have to own their story and own who they are.
Yeah.
And when you do that, everything opens up.
So I just tag team with my sisters.
Right.
Just to close it out.
Yes.
Close it out. I was sitting there laughing. She was like, what? I know. Let's take good care of yourself. Drink your water. You know, do a little exercise every day and stuff. You know. No. But in all seriousness, to close out, like my sister said, like, listen, own your story. Be your hurricane. Don't try to be anyone else's hurricane. Because sometimes, you know, even as teenagers, it's easy to get caught in the comparison trap. Like, I had a conversation with somebody the other day. I said, don't judge your chapter 2 by my chapter 5. I said, because they're different. Or don't judge your chapter 2 by my chapter 2. Because they're still different. Like, although we may be on the same field, we're experiencing different things. Like, you guys have an individual impact, each of you, differently. Like, it may impact and it may cross paths and you can work together, but individually, you guys have an amazing impact. So own your story and don't allow anybody to narrate or dictate or change your story. That's why I said, you know, get the words and you own your story. Because people are gonna try. I ain't even gonna act like a lot of you. I'll tell you they ain't. But you have to be bold enough and courageous enough to say, no, this is my story. This is who I am. Like the young lady that started the nonprofit Africa. I think that is so awesome. Like that's dope. Like she went to a whole other country, but she's owning her story. She's not letting anybody else dictate to her story. And that's like should be inspiring for you guys. You can do it too. You know? So
we want to say thank you.
Thank you for having us. Like
What's the name of your book?
the book.
So the most recent one is #Unmuted.
That's the one we're in together. That's like super cool. I can bring it with my sister. But she's got a whole lot of other books. I can always only think of her first one is It's Okay to Cry.
Yeah, if you look up World Voices on Instagram, you'll find me. I think my TikTok's in the World Voices too. No, I'm not doing no crazy dances.
I love TikTok. I just laugh at the TikTok videos. But you can find me on Instagram at Bree_his_favorite_daughter.
Is this it? This not the book.
Nope, it's a gold
It has
boxing
like
glove.
it has like gold boxing gloves on the front of it. It's dope.
Yeah, the ebook is on Amazon right now, and then the physical book will be on there next week.
Yep.
Okay.
No questions?
No, actually, I have a question. So,
Girl. I like questions.
Not
I
about
just thought of it.
ages.
Go ahead, let's
With you, when you were talking about how you witnessed your mother, and with you, when you talked about like your past and stuff like that, was it hard for both of you to like think about like your self-worth and like your self-image and like a positive thing?
Ooh, baby, yeah. I can tell you because as y'all can see, I'm not model size. You know, I'm thicker than a snicket. And
Girl,
I love it.
everybody's model size.
Listen, the traditional model size. You know, I'm thicker than a snicket, and I don't even care. I love all of this.
As you
okay?
should.
Right. But when I was a child, my family didn't, and like they literally body shamed me. Like my grandmother, like God rest her soul, my favorite person in the world. I loved her, but she body shamed me because I literally, when I say I was the only thick one in my family for years, like, because I came out the womb a butterball, y'all. My nickname was Buddha as a baby, okay? Because I was a chunky. I got a picture. I wish I had it. I can show you these thick thighs and these fat cheeks. That's how I came out the womb, you know? So I was the thickest one on my whole side of my mother's side of the family. Everybody else looked like this. I always joke and say, my family look like this and I look like this. But my grandmother body shamed me, you know? She's like, oh, you shouldn't eat that. You shouldn't do that, And, you know, and it did damage my self-esteem. It did damage my self-worth, make me think like, so y'all don't love me because I'm bigger than this person or I'm bigger than that person? Like, it's so interesting. Like, I didn't read, I guess I read the program but didn't read it. Like, the rap group that you're going to hear, that's my little cousin's rap group, Velocity. I heard it, I was like, wait, hold on, I know them people. But know, so you'll see, she's a thin girl. She's pretty, but she don't care. But I didn't look like that image, you know, like we don't match up because, you know, she tall and thin and, you know, I'm short. But so yeah, it did. But you know what? I think changing my friend circle as well and just learning to love me and changing the words that I say to myself and just owning my story, owning my hurricane and telling my grandmother like, listen, you can't talk to me. It's okay. I love you. Like I literally had a conversation with one of my aunts. I said, I love you. I don't know what your issue is with my weight, but I'm perfectly healthy. I'm not on 99, 150 million thousand drugs. No, like I work out, I exercise. Listen, I drink my water, you know, sometimes I drink Pepsi, but you know, I have my water, you know. I find a healthy balance, you know. But and I said if you don't like it, then you don't have to comment on my pictures. We don't even have to be friends on social media. Like we could just be family and that's it. You could just text me. And you know, I may respond or I may not, you know. But I had to own who I was. So that did damage, you know. And I'm still working through it. I still have my days, you know, and I be like, oh, you know, I just need a few more sit-ups, a little more crunches, you know. But I love me. And my sister can tell you, I started on a journey when COVID hit. COVID was good for me, y'all. Listen. Because I couldn't go nowhere, so I couldn't get my cheeseburgers and french fries and stuff. So I had to cook, and then COVID helped me lose 20 pounds, y'all.
Oh.
Because
somebody found them.
Listen, you're right. I had to get rid of it. But no, like I started a weight loss, not weight loss, a healthy lifestyle journey. You know, I do a meal replacement shake a day. But like it took work. It took process. This ain't an overnight success. You know, some days I have my moments. I'm like, but then I'm like, you know what? I love me. And as long as I love me, you don't have to. I don't care. But I love me. I love all of me too. My sister laughed at me. She told me to do this because people have to tell me when they're coming over because I don't really like clothes. So but I got that because I learned to love me. I had to learn to love me without clothes, so that when I put the clothes on, I could still love all of me. So yeah. But, that's a good question.
Do you have any tips, Loki? Because like I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. When I'm 13 now. So I'd say about like when I was 9, right? My family always one body shamed me. Like they put me down. Like my grandma. She only speaks Spanish, right?
Okay.
And because I don't really speak Spanish like that, or I didn't.
You're not as fluent.
Yeah, I'm not as fluent as her, but you know, I can still speak it a little bit.
Yeah, right.
She would always like tell me in Spanish like, oh, you don't know Spanish, you can't be a part of the family, like it's such a disgrace and stuff like that. Like that put me down, and it really did. And then
I'm hurting.
Yeah,
because I don't really even know you, but I was like, hold on. Like I still got my scarf. Listen, I fight for you, girl. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, with my grandma and my family putting me down for one, not knowing Spanish, two, also because like my family, I'm also one of the biggest ones on my dad's side.
Listen,
like everybody else looks like they have a little something, but I'm the only one that has like.
You got
I got you.
And
then they're all like, oh, she grew up too fast. Like she never had a chance to be a child and stuff like that. And like all my family, they still do put me down. But like sometimes I can handle it. Like they put me down constantly for one, what I look like, two, because I'm also because I'm also
listen, I had to take that off stuff. So that's why I stayed over here.
Speak.
Girl, listen, that thing had to come off.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
They put me.
By the way.
Oh, thank you.
You are. Like, all I saw was the eyes, and I was like, the eyes is cute. But I'm like, girl, you're cute.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
My grandma, she puts me down for being an Afro-Latina because, like, my mom, she's Haitian, but she's also, like, Dominican and Indian. But my dad's side, he's, like, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Cuban, Dominican, like, Venezuela, all that stuff. So I'm, like, I have one side that's fully Spanish and another side that's, like, Afro-Latina. So the full Spanish side puts me down for being an Afro-Latina because they're like, oh, you're not fully like us, like you're not a full Boricua or something like that. And I'm just like, it's not my fault. I can't choose that.
Yeah, you are Boricua, okay? You are bonita, okay? I know a little Esprit. I don't know a lot. I don't know. You know, but you know one thing I can say to you is help you. Like, listen, don't take what they say, like, because they gonna talk, but you gotta change those words that you see in yourself and say, you know what, and you're not doing it in a disrespectful way, but say, listen, you know, let them know, like, your words hurt me, and you know, like, do you think, and just kind of like ask them, like, do you think about what you're saying when you kind of have a conversation with me, like, you know, but kind of do it in like a respectful way, like, you know. I say respectful because I was an adult when I had this conversation with my grandma and I wasn't real respectful with it. So that's why because I was like, I will put you out of my car. I remember saying, I was like, dang, I probably shouldn't have said that to my grandma. But no, I said respectfully, just like I said, but I did respectfully tell my aunt, like, if you have a problem, don't make your problem my problem. So that, like, you know, kind of respectfully say, like, that's your problem. Like, I can't change my heritage, but guess what? I'm big, bad, and bold because, you know, you can be duolingual. Like, so you can learn Haitian, which is French, Haitian or French, Creole. Yeah. Like, girl, listen, let them know, like,
girl, you're Indian, I'll teach you Hindi.
Listen.
Yeah.
Yes, girl.
Yes.
So, like, you let them know, like, that's what I said about owning your hurricane. Let them know, listen, I may not know, I'm not fully, you know, Latina. But guess what? I'm this, and this. And that makes me a triple threat. Because I can walk in any room and I can speak multiple languages.
Come on.
That which means multiple doors open up to you because girls can do anything. You know? See?
Thank you.
And then you gotta just, like, I will say, there you go. It's okay. That's still good. But and just like change your circle. You know, like, even though, like, you can't pick your family, but you can kind of create one of your own, you know, with your friend circle. Because her and I aren't biological sisters, but that's my sister. Her kids are my nieces and nephews. Listen, I look good in orange, you know. I will start a prison ministry, okay, over my babies. You know, you can't tell me that I'm a baby, but that's the best thing I say. But listen, own your voice, own it, and you can talk to them respectfully. And don't go to the family functions. Like, I know sometimes it might be easy. Girl, listen, my family don't invite me to a lot of places. Because I let them know, listen here, first of all, y'all gotta respect my time. I do not live in Philadelphia. So you can't tell me the day before there's this an event and you want me to come. You got to give me I'm like a job. You got to give me 2 weeks notice. So I can put it on my calendar. You know? But don't call me the day of the event, at the event. No, I am not coming. So it's like, you like kind of manage that.